I really think that this gets me really oriented in two spaces here, in two octaves and two different positions on the neck. Great to just be able to move from that spot to that spot. I think that if I could really bring that together, maybe I could come into a deeper fluidity. We could try it together. I'm not breathing. I have to remember to breathe. 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 You know, a lot of people, they experience a range of emotion that's, kind of like that. And it seems to me that I've discovered that with an instrument in my hand, it's much more socially acceptable to express a wide range of human emotion. So I just invented this exercise for myself. For me, that's a really important part of practice, is discovering the patterns. I've heard it said that everyone is self-taught, or possibly we allow ourselves to be taught by something deeper that rises from within. Is music not kind of like that? So here's this octave exercise. Right? And then you go up a half step. I have this idea that I need to be seeing the whole neck at the same time. I get hyper focused on that particular place that I'm in, and I want to see kind of where it is that I'm going on the guitar neck, or be aware of my possible paths this direction, my possible paths this direction. So it's just been this lifelong kind of process for me of trying to understand the guitar neck, trying to really understand those patterns. I was just excited to share that with you this morning because it seemed like something that could be useful. I really think that this gets me really oriented in two spaces here, in two octaves and two different positions on the neck. Great to just be able to move from that spot to that spot. I think that if I could really bring that together, maybe I could come into a deeper fluidity. We could try it together. One, two, three, four. One and two and three and four. One and two and three and four. One, two, Here we go. Why do I go so fast? I take something that I don't know and I start going faster with it just immediately. It's just my nature. Or is it my nature? Whose nature is that? Whose nature? Whose nature am I talking about? Is that in my nature? To always run ahead of myself? Another exercise that somebody taught me long ago, I believe it was my old friend and guitar teacher Jason Cadamy, the spider. It could have been Johnny Nelson that showed it to me. I'm not sure. Probably Cadamy. And of course you can move it anywhere. And then you can also skip a string. And skip another string. And that'll build some dexterity for sure. Ums are not helpful. There's a lot of speech that I can clean up. There's also a lot of doubting myself that I see as I record myself. Unnecessarily kind of recanting, anticipating the other's argument and taking myself down that path. Is that in my nature? I'm not breathing. I have to remember to breathe. 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 That was fun. Always faster. Must go faster. If I get to go a little faster, then I must go faster. Einstein was very concerned about what he called spooky action. The possibility that the spin of one thing on one side of the universe could affect the spin of another thing on the other side of the universe instantaneously, faster than the speed of light. Einstein was concerned, yes. Yeah, as the movements speed up, there's a fluidity that one can come into where you realize it's not about playing fast. It's really about having that big picture. It's like, have you ever heard somebody play a really fast lick that just came out slow? Like it's like a bunch of notes, but there's a lot of notes and there's a lot of fast finger movement, but they're all shaped around a slower lick, a bigger lick. I've heard that in my favorite players, and it's made itself manifest in me, I don't know, several times in my life where I really get that, where I'm in a situation that's helpful to birthing that. It helps to have other people around who have a deep time concept. Which brings me to Mike Walker. I think about him frequently. Mike Walker is that one who asked us to take a really deep look at time. Do you remember that? Do you remember when Mike Walker asked us to take a deep look at time? He asked us to look at time under a microscope. He asked us to place a downbeat in an imagined area of a quarter note. And he would say, you can either place that downbeat at the front of that quarter note or at the back of that quarter note. There's a lot of places in there. And then he would talk about, I guess he was in the band room practicing with a metronome, and he was working on placing, like a kick drum in a particular place and a snare drum in a particular place in that area, that big area that he talked about that was a quarter note. In that, he asked me to take a deep look at time, and in that sense, that's kind of what science has asked us to do, is to take a deep look at time. Or it's what science has empowered us to do. We've taken a deep look at time and found out that it's not quite what we thought it was, that it's not quite as linear as we think it should be from our daily experience. But we found out that time is relative to motion. Derived many equations, us, not me in particular. There is that sacred experience when we discover as a people that as we see the layers of the earth, revealed in a landslide or in a ravine and in a river, that represents deep, deep time. And even though time seems to be a construct of our consciousness, of our human consciousness, of that which is observing in us, although it seems to be some kind of consciousness construct, perhaps, I'm also not a physicist, but I am somehow informed by these stories that I've heard, right? Because that's what we do, is we read and we study and we discover, because that's what I was trying to get for myself, was a deep look at time. There's a way that we can look at time in the context of music, yes. We can come together with people and we can all relate to time with instruments in our hands, and pulse, rhythm, groove, pocket, dance, movement ideally happens, right? Hopefully we're not playing our instruments without. Well, there are a lot of different ways to play our instruments. True? Yes. Very true. Very true. I'm drawn to the movement, drawn to dance, drawn to the feeling of the music, the expression through the music. With an instrument in my hand, it's much more socially acceptable to express a wide range of human emotion. And I just happen to experience a wide range of human emotion. My first therapist, she said, sweetie, a lot of people, they experience a range of emotion that's, kind of like that. And it seems to me that maybe you have a range of emotion that's bigger. She didn't talk like that at all. That's my voice. Oh man, what a trip all this is. There's the stories, there's the music, these patterns, these forms in which we begin to relate to that thing which we call music, yet we know that the map is not the terrain, and the guitar neck is not music, right? Just as any religion is not God. They are all forms that we apply ourselves to, that we discipline ourselves in the hopes of connecting with the divine. Yes? Whether that be science, literary studies, all sorts, sociology, psychology. We have this deep hunger to understand, to know. We want to see into deep time. We want to understand ourselves. We want to understand the universe in which we live, yes? Oh my goodness, what an opportunity we have right now to get a good look. I can honestly say that I have the broadest view from which I have ever seen. And to approach that precipice and to look down into that abyss, to acknowledge the mortality of one's own flesh, to acknowledge the absolute reality of love, of God, of the unobjectifiable, of that which cannot be spoken, of understanding that all of this passes away. Do not worry about what you will eat or what you will wear. Look at the lilies of the field. Look at the birds of the sky. And my friends, I do not claim to know the deepest and most literal understanding of these sayings today, because you heard the heater go off just a moment ago. I'm sheltered. Yeah, today I'm cared for. I am not just cared for, but I'm giving care. That's what I'm doing here, right? Is labor and the expression of worth. I have decided to show up for that in my life which I deem to be worthy, that in my life which I know to be of worth, and to devote my entire being to this. What was it that our friend Ralph said? Wow. Self-reliance, the self with a capital S. To thine own self be true. That's quite a journey, isn't it? So yeah, that's another form of speech that's unnecessary. So yeah, but I guess we all have these mannerisms, don't we? But as I watch good communicators, people that I really enjoy listening, don't have a lot of that. Maybe it comes with a confidence. And when we start stepping into confidence, that comes with a whole set of possibilities, right? At what level do we speak of our sureness, of our certitude? We all know the heaviness of judgments and opinions, resentments. And so often with our speech, well, right now we're being taught by a lot of media, not all of media, but we're being shown to be opinionated and judgmental and condescending in tone. I see that I see that condescension frequently when I catch a peek at the news. I think it's just something to be aware of. Um, there's an It's something to be aware of, I believe, if we're interested in truly helping our brothers and sisters um, to see the light, right? I know I'm interested in getting help, seeing the light, and I know that I tend to respond to kindness and gentleness and help and hope. There have been there have been these instances in my life. It's my tribute to Jordan Peterson. There have been these interests. There have been these moments in my life where the kindness of another human being has opened the door to help me to understand, to help me to see where I have been in error, to help me to see where I've been injuring myself or someone else. What a sweet moment when the heart of true love can open you up like that. Do you know that? Mm. What a that's just one of those moments as far as beautiful moments, moments of true repentance when love comes and kindness leads us to true change. And it comes in the sense of like, oh, I don't have any use for that anymore. I don't need that anymore. I don't want that in my life anymore. I see how that's hurting me, and thank God I get to release that. I get to let go. But I think oftentimes we're stuck in this mindset. It's a punishment type mindset. It's a whip yourself into shape. It's kind of a drill sergeant mindset. It's like I hear people putting the voice of God as a punisher oftentimes in their speech. Yeah, God really kicked me in the ass on that one. And I don't know. I can't say that God doesn't kick asses. I mean, certainly the God of the Old Testament seemed to be a real ass kicker. The many father figures are ass kickers. That happens. Yeah. Many of us have personal experience with what that's like. That's another one. You knows are not necessary. I don't need to use I knows. You know, because if you know, you know. So we practice fundamentals. We try to get a broader picture of what's going on. Yes, we're looking for a broader picture, looking deep into time. Thanks, Mike, for helping us to see the light. Thank you. Thank you.